People just give up so easily, whether that's a sales rep or a business owner. No, it's on the other side of hard. I think the big thing is
you've been to locations that most people would just dream of, but you've earned that. That's not given, that's earned.
it takes so much time and effort to build that freedom, but it's so worth it.
In terms of from a career perspective, you started in nursing. Why nursing?
In the beginning, it was mainly like, oh, this is a profession, but then it became a love.
How would you describe exactly then what it is the fit nurse movement is about?
It basically is helping nurses be able to not sacrifice their health for their career. You only have this one life. Why would you continue doing the day in, day out without the purpose that you're meant to be here on earth to do?
Like, what were some moments that you walked through where you may have questioned yourself, what am I doing?
Like, I want to cry right now.
Welcome back to the Freedom Formula podcast. Today, I'm excited to introduce one of the best kept secrets in the American health coaching space, Courtney Brookes. From burnt out, overworked, and underpaid as a nurse to building a 7-figure health brand, traveling the world, and living completely on her own terms. Courtney is the definition of someone who broke free from the system. She's the founder of the Fit Nurse movement, where she helps nurses finally put themselves first, reclaiming their health, energy, and identity while still showing up powerfully for others. So here's the question we're going to dive into today. How do you go from exhausted and stuck in scrubs to creating freedom, impact, and a movement that changes lives? We're about to find out. But before we dive in, a quick reminder, this show is still new. So if you want to keep hearing conversations with real freedom fighters every single week, people who are creating more time, money, and geographical freedom in their lives, then do yourself a favor, smash that subscribe button and don't miss a single episode. All right, let's get into it. Courtney, welcome to the show. Courtney Brookes.
Hello.
Welcome to the Freedom Formula.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Pleasure to have you here. I've been excited actually to get you on. So, I've already introduced you to the audience. They've got a little bit of a background, but the most important thing is really getting to know you. That's what we're here to discuss, right? So let's begin at the beginning. I think that's important, right? I mean, how old are you now?
27. So
you're 27.
Yeah.
And your journey started in terms of from a career perspective. All right, you started in nursing.
Yeah.
All right. And so let's walk back to that. Like, why nursing?
I feel like nursing was something that I was like, in the beginning, it was mainly like, oh, this is a profession. This is something that I can do and actually have a job after. So it's kind of
stable.
That's what I was going for. But then it became a love. It was like really helping people and it was beautiful towards health. And I felt really called to health. So I was like, okay, this is a perfect avenue. But then all of a sudden fitness came into my life and I was like, oh, I love fitness so much. So it was a balance between the two. So I was doing nursing and bikini competitions at the same time. That was a bit of my journey. But in nursing, I always seen myself doing nursing long term. I really did, because I dabbled a little bit in coaching, but I was like, it never became
health
anything.
Coaching?
Yeah. So before I actually did the Fit Nurse movement, I was doing health coaching, but it was only I would have 4 clients at a time and then that was it. So I actually left that completely and I was like, okay, I'll just do my bikini competitions and I'll just do nursing. And I was like, okay, that's great. I thought that was going to be my life. Then it wasn't until I actually met Andrew that I was like, oh, because he.
So for context, who is Andrew?
Yeah, so Andrew, my partner. Yeah,
okay.
So he had a fitness business at the time, the 4% Club.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, he showed me the way. He was like, you can actually do fitness. You can actually scale it. You can leave your nursing job. And I was like, whoa, because I never thought that was possible. And especially since I was doing travel nursing. So I was actually making a lot in Miami. And I was like, I felt like I was balling. I was like,
right. Okay.
I was like, yeah, I'm balling. I'm living the life. I did this. I moved to Miami, everything. So I thought I was good. But then just slowly across the year together, he was showing me other people that were involved in business too. And they were kind of showing me different pathways. They were like, what if you did nursing and fitness at the same time? And at the time, I was so immature. I couldn't even book an appointment and actually keep up with an appointment. So I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. But I was so far away from actually committing to it, even though the idea came into my head. And I was like, okay, like whatever. And then like time passed and I was like, okay, I'll go back to my travel nursing assignments and stuff and just do that or do my bikini competitions. But I never saw the real like, yes, I can completely leave nursing.
So you got into nursing, right? So how long were you actually working full-time in nursing then?
3 years.
There must have been a moment, I guess, you don't go from being, I suppose, in a career, studying and working hard and sort of trying to work your way up and establishing yourself in a career to transitioning to online, being an entrepreneur without something happening. Like, do you recall if there was a moment where you kind of realized, well, like, I can no longer do this, or there's got to be more? Like, what was that moment for you?
I think the moment was just like there was an opportunity. Like Andrew like showed the way. There was an opportunity to me having my own brand. And then there was go back to nursing. But I was like, what excites me? Like I have to go the avenue of what excites me. And there was so much risk. Like I didn't know if it was going to be possible for me to even leave nursing. But in that moment, I was like, what happens if I just go all in on this and I only focus on this? Because I really believe that when people are dabbling in like 3 different things, it's really hard to give your all to it and have it explode and have it really manifest the way you want. But when you can just zone in on one thing, go all in every single day, like imagine what can come out of that. So I was like, okay, well, let me just try it because I still have my nursing license. I can always go back to that. But instead of me being like, okay, that's my safety net, I was like, just go all in and just see where it goes. Like worst case scenario is you go back to nursing. So like, I was like, okay, like I'm just going to do it. And
so best case, you change and you do something great. Worst case, you go back to something that you kind of enjoyed anyway.
Yeah.
In a sense, but you recognize there was something more for you. So what was the vision? I guess so, you're at this point. It's pivotal. It's a life change. You're still in your sort of mid-20s at this point, and you see an opportunity to create some impact. But why nurses, right? Because I know you're a nurse, but why nurses?
It was the idea of what T Keys gave to me at the time. Someone that was involved with Andrew in business. And he was like, oh, like my wife is doing this. Like we'd love for you to take it over sort of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't want what other people have. Like I don't want like whatever's left to like someone's dream. Like I want my own. And that vision just kept on popping up for me. I was like, that would be the coolest thing ever to like combine the two, like the life that I lived and then to combine fitness because I actually lived that life. Like I balanced my health and fitness with nursing. And you don't see it out there because if I saw that out there, I would have done it. I would have had a coach that was a nurse, but I felt completely misunderstood as a nurse. And I was like, that is something that's missing from the world. I actually felt like my coaches didn't understand me. Like doing 2-hour workouts, doing things that don't make sense for a nurse and not having the empathy and the change of plan to actually set me up for success. That's not going to help me win in life. I felt like a failure. So I took that experience and I was like, I want to give that to everyone, but help them win and help them transform their lives. And this is what's missing from the world right now. And there was nothing out there. I searched it up. Nothing.
So you found basically an opportunity, which we would usually call like a blue ocean, right? Because health is a red ocean. There's an incredible amount of competition, particularly in health. Everyone's, in that space, particularly post-COVID. But it seems that, you recognized a blue ocean within that, which was helping nurses. So how would you describe exactly then what it is that, the fit nurse movement is about? Like for someone listening for the first time, they've never heard of the fit nurse movement. What is it?
It basically is helping nurses be able to not sacrifice their health for their career because it's actually it's a global, like the whole world struggles with this as nurses. They always put themselves last. It's always the patients first. It's a family first. It's everyone else first. They're last. And that became a norm. Like people actually started believing, oh, like this is how it's supposed to be. But what people don't realize is like nursing draws in specific people that literally want to care for other people because a lot of the time it's things that maybe they missed in their lives.
They're nurturers.
Yeah.
They're nurturers.
They want that type of love. Like a lot of the time it's like the love that they didn't receive too as well in their life or relationships. So they try to give that to someone else, but then it leaves them empty at the end of the day because they just gave their all.
Yeah.
So how do we change the narrative to be like, you know what? I come first. And when I come first, being the priority, imagine how much I can give to my purpose in life. If I can feel like I have a full cup right now, I'm pouring into the patients, pouring into the coworkers, pouring into the family, but now actually feeling good myself. Like you really don't have to sacrifice your career for your job. And that's the purpose of this movement.
Yeah, powerful. Because I guess I would imagine I've never been a nurse, right? And so not in this life anyway. So the that job, I mean, it is selfless, right? I mean, all they do is give. Particularly, when you consider the phase that we've been through globally, post-COVID, nurses were under the pump. I would imagine in the US and Canada would be the same as what happened here in Australia.
Yeah.
Long hours, staffing was very low. They were exposing themselves to incredibly stressful situations, which would probably mean their health comes last. And that usually then leads to situations that aren't very helpful, right? Whether it be weight gain, stress, anxiety, PTSD. And then when you don't feel good, it's hard to give, right? So you obviously caught onto something at the right moment. I want to explore the journey from a business perspective then, right? So we sort of can unpack this because people will be listening to this podcast, they have an entrepreneurial heart. They've got an entrepreneurial spirit where they might not go and start their own business, but they may want to work underneath someone in their business and be sales agents or marketing specialists, whatever it is, right? So the journey began with an idea, but every idea then needs some execution. And then beyond execution, it needs funding and capital and to be able to get it going. So walk us through sort of, how it started, maybe what were some of the original challenges to start with.
Yeah, I think for me, the challenge really was it's so hard to back yourself with so much conviction and confidence when you don't have the result yet.
Yep.
But it's just about when you have a vision, you literally feel called to it. And you wouldn't have that vision for no reason. Like you gotta go towards it. It's like your God gift here on earth and like what you're supposed to be doing if you feel aligned with it. So you literally have to go through it and you have to just tell yourself, I'm just gonna work my bum off, that there's no other option. I think a lot of people just give themselves so many options and they're like, oh, well, if I don't do well on this account, like I'll just like go to the next one or I can always do whatever. But like you have to just like resiliently have no other option but to make this happen.
Burn the boats.
Because exactly. Burn the boats. I love that one. I say that to the girls all the time because like it's actually like you visually see it. You're on this island right now and you burn the boats. There's no way off the island.
There's nothing else.
It's like you have to commit.
It's amazing what you can do when your back's up against a wall, I suppose, and there is no other option where, you've literally burned the boats and the actually plan B is to go back to plan A, as they say, right? That's my plan B, to get back to plan A. So I imagine you sort of kicked off, right? And to get something like what you've done to succeed, the amount of skill and beyond resilience and all the other things that go on, like the amount of skill like to know how to sort of piece it together is incredible, right? I would imagine there was some stuff around marketing and then content creation and then sales. I remember some conversations that we had at a conference in Vegas where you were talking about your journey in sales, right? So walk me through then, I guess, when you kicked it off and you had to start selling people in because when you can attract leads is one thing, but converting people is another.
Yes,
leads aren't cheap, but they're cheap, if you know what I mean, right? Like anyone can get a lead, but getting someone to believe in the offer to exchange money is another thing.
100%. It's one thing to have your thing, but you actually got to be good at sales. I truly believe that that's the number one skill to have in life because it's actually communication as well and how you make other people feel outside of just sales. But that was the one thing that I learned that changed everything for me. I was like,
so why sales? Yeah, why did it change everything?
Because if you don't actually know sales, you can't actually help someone move through the change that they need to. So someone can want to make a change, but then they'll hop off the phone and be like, okay, on to the next, or like, does it really matter that much? but sales can help you lead the person down the proper way to help them make the change that's going to change their lives. So you need that skill to be able to do it. And you need people in your business that have the skill as well.
Absolutely. So it's like an act of service. I mean, I always say that sales, like, fundamentally is an act of service, because we don't sell ice to Eskimos. What we do is, if we recognize that someone has a problem, we open the door. I mean, we explore the possibility. We probe and ask questions in such a way that creates curiosity and it drives desire to change, right? So we create tension. So what were some of the things that I guess you learn about sales that then you were implementing, that you were testing? Like, what did it look like? Because no one's great at anything when they start, right? Everyone sucks when they start anything, right? Like, I can remember my first sales call, years back, and absolutely sucking, right? Like you've got to be willing to suck to be great at anything. So I'm just curious, like, obviously when you started kicking off, you're probably jumping on your first Zoom or whatever it is, like that experience.
Yes, it was hard. It was really hard, because it's the thing about sales is why it makes it so hard is, it's your skill. So that you always blame yourself. So you're always like, if something went wrong or they didn't sign up or something, you always go back to yourself. So when I first started, I didn't know where to guide the conversation. So I didn't realize the reason why we're asking these certain questions and the way we're asking it and the tonality. So because me as the person trying to help them get into the program didn't understand it, like, how is that supposed to help the person on the other side? Right. So I was talking about, like, they were talking about their shoes, and I was like, well, like, talking about their gibbets on their shoes, on their Crocs in the beginning. And then she's like, well, I want to see it. And then I hop on the FaceTime to show her. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did my makeup today. Like, super awkward. Yeah. And like, that's not, like, that doesn't show confidence. That's not conviction. Authority. That's not, So I'm like, I learned so much just on my journey in sales. It was hard. It was probably the hardest journey to be on, but it was such a worth it journey, because it changed everything for me. Like, it changed even my communication with people. Like, I was someone that when me and Andrew, my partner, just started dating, he would talk to me and I wouldn't even answer. And,
wow. So you're quite timid, and you would, how would you describe yourself?
It's like I was very introverted. Okay. And I was like, I would answer in my head, but not actually speak out. And you don't recognize the impact that it has on your relationships and like friendships and everything when you don't know communication, because sales is communication.
It is. Yeah.
So that changed everything for our relationship, because I actually was able to talk to him.
You're learning the art of the human thing, which is communication, which is obviously the hardest thing of all. And it's interesting you said that, in a journey like creating a health brand that is, well, if you could call it multinational, it is, right? Because you help people all over the world, I would imagine. There's nurses in the US and mostly Canada. Is that right?
For the most part, yeah. We used to be in Australia. Yeah, so I do have some gals in Australia right now. But mostly the US. But it's interesting that you say that, that the hardest thing is sales. And I think the reason for that, I'd be curious to see, you get your perspective on it, is, marketing is hard. I know that because I've done it, right? I do it every day, right? Whether it be media buying, whether it be copywriting, creating hooks and whatever else, like thinking and ideating over a brand, right? Then you've got, operations. Operations is hard. Hiring people, identifying talent, which I'm sure you've had your experience with, right? Having to onboard, create systems and hiring processes, and then train them up and keep them happy and motivate them, all that kind of stuff. And then there's the deliverable, that side of the operations, like the actual product. That's hard, because you've got to build something that legitimately helps people achieve an outcome. I mean, ultimately, that's what people pay for. They pay for an experience. They want a result. Mm-hmm. They want to be part of something bigger than them sometimes, which is a community. But then there's the sale. And it's interesting you said that that's the hardest part, right? Because from my perspective, I mean, I'd probably fair to say thousands of calls. It's the only true place where you get to experience rejection. And here's why, because, well, assuming you sort of look at it through the wrong lens, right? Because the marketing cannot hit its objectives and not reach its desired KPI, and you don't take it personal. A staff member can leave and it's like, well, there was something out there which, I guess
serve them better. And maybe a product can be great and help some people get results, but others don't. So then we tend to say, well, okay, well, maybe they just didn't follow the yellow brick road, right? Mm-hmm. But then the sale is that moment, as you said, which because it's so much skill-based and it's our ability to influence a conversation, it's easy for us to take it personal and go, man, there's something about me that person didn't resonate 100%. With, didn't love. So how did you handle that, early on? How did you handle and regulate that rejection?
Yeah. You know what, Shane? I actually think that a lot of like how we feel on sales calls has everything to do with our past, like the traumas of our past. Mm-hmm. Because if you experience rejection in your life, like whether that's with your family, being bullied, whatever it is, it still carries with you to this day unless you've done a lot of work on yourself. So I recognized very quickly that I had to do a lot of internal work, like psychology as well, because the rejection shouldn't actually be that personal because of the reason that it has a lot to do with the person. Like it could be just that they don't have the money. It could be that like whatever's going on in their life, it has a lot to do with them more than it actually does with you if you have the skill sort of thing. So the rejection has a lot to do with me and my past traumas and stuff. And I recognize that because sales is a wave. It puts you through so many highs and lows and rejection and stuff. But I think the big thing is that I had to recognize that and do the internal work. So now if I were to hop on a sales call and someone says no, I'm just going to be like, okay, fair enough.
Yes, you've learned to deal with the rejection. And it's funny, anyone that's been in sales and at some point arrives at that point, assuming they continue and they stay in the game, they get to a point where they recognize, in fact, okay, so the most important thing that I can learn or grow into through this journey is the understanding that, well, in fact, they're not rejecting me. In fact, what they're rejecting is change.
Yeah.
And they're rejecting change for their own reasons, right? And humans we're complicated creatures, right?
I'm just thinking
we
about
are
it in my
complicated
head.
creatures.
There's so many things.
There's so many reasons why someone could reject change, right? And very rarely is it about anything outside of themselves. It's possibly their lack of belief in the vehicle. In other words, there's something to do with that they don't think is going to work for them. It could be a limiting belief that they have about their ability to actually execute or stay consistent or motivated or focused for a long enough period of time to see change. Yeah. Or sometimes it could be external barriers to change in their life that make it a little hard and increase something called an action threshold in this moment, right? Mm-hmm. So what you experienced was that, I suppose, moment where you realized, okay, well, actually, they're not rejecting me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you started experiencing some wins, right? And you've experienced some losses. You're experiencing wins. Like, how many ladies now are in the fitness movement?
Yeah. So there is over 200 active members right now.
That's insane.
And it's all like pretty much one-on-one coaching, which is amazing.
That is insane.
And right now my coaches are on vacation, so I'm taking them all myself. So I'm like, holy heck. Guys.
Wow. Okay. Well, in future they can't all go away.
I know.
At the same time.
Rookie mistake.
Right? Yeah. In future
it's only
they can't.
for one day.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. So there's 200 ladies. A bit of context. From in a high ticket environment, that's 200 humans that had to go through what we would describe as a funnel. But fundamentally what that is an experience, a journey, right? And usually that funnel probes on a problem. And what would you say would be some of the most common problems that women are facing that then leads them to make a decision to say, okay, the fitness movement is for me? Feeling
understood, I think, is the biggest thing, because everyone out there in the fitness industry is like there's a lot of general programs. There's a lot of, okay, lose weight, but there's not a lot of like, hey, I experienced this. And we've had thousands of women walk into this program already that have also experienced the same thing. Let us be the best person to help you because of our own experiences, understanding the life that you went through, being a nurse and having so many women. Like, I just feel like I understand them so well because I've helped so many women every different walk of life. It's like, who better to help like you lose weight and keep it off and actually have the energy with your shifts than someone that's went through it and lived that life.
True empathy.
Yeah.
True empathy.
Understanding.
True understanding.
And having a sisterhood of people that are legit just understand what it feels like to be empty and give to everyone else. And the ladies feel so empowered when we hop on the Zoom calls because they're just like, oh my gosh, like they get excited about accepting, oh my gosh, I can put myself first. Like it's very weird for them. It's eye-opening because it's not innate.
Almost freeing, it sounds like.
Yes, they're like, oh my God. Like they recognize their whole life is changing in here. Like this is more than just health and fitness. Like this is them going towards that best version of them. And they're unlocking that in here. So yeah.
Courtney, as the business owner, right? Like, so we're learning sales, we're learning operations. And so, you know, these skills unlock opportunity and opportunity when, you know, sort of entered into, you know, changes our lives, right? So how has this journey then, I suppose, changed, you know, your life? How would you describe some of the things that are now better or different?
For me or in the business?
For you.
For me, I just feel like I just wake up every day with just such a purpose. Like I'm so happy. Like I'm like I get to literally help so many women. My voice gets to be the thing that changes people. Like
the oracle.
It gets me excited because I'm like I want to hop on these Zooms and I want to like speak in public to people and I want to get that voice out there because I know what this program does for people and sharing the word. Because it changes, it causes a ripple effect into everyone's life that comes in here. So to me, that's so special. And like, I wouldn't want to have it any other way. So I'm happy, I'm content. I feel like I'm doing a lot of self-growth as well. And that's amazing too on the journey when you're working on yourself. And also just financially, I'm just can do whatever I want when I want.
That's pretty good,
like,
right?
I'm like throwing this big retreat, like everyone's coming to it. Like I can just do whatever I want.
That's incredible. So there's personal growth, which you say, right? So obviously there's been an evolution and you're growing and you're changing. Now the reality that you financially are free because you've learned skills, you rejected the status quo. In other words, the corporate America or just working in you know, an office or working as a nurse, for example, and just accepting an average salary for the rest of your life. Because you rejected that and you put yourself in a growth zone. There's a comfort zone, then there's a growth zone. You put yourself in the growth zone, right? There's also a freak out zone, but you didn't put yourself there. You put yourself nicely in a little growth zone. And that's opened up these doors. So now you're financially free. So you've been to locations that most people would just dream of.
Oh, that's nice.
Right. But it is, right? I mean, if you, all people got to do is go look at your Instagram and they'll see you, but you've earned that.
Yeah.
That's not given, that's earned. You know, freedom isn't free. What you're experiencing is freedom. It's autonomy, it's choice, but freedom is something that you've fought for every single day.
Yeah.
Every single Zoom call, every single rejection, you keep stepping up to the plate.
It takes so much time and effort to build that freedom, but it's so worth it. Like people just give up so easily nowadays, like whether that's a sales rep or a business owner or anything, like, no, it's on the other side of hard. You think like every business owner out there like just had an easy life? Like, no, actually like the people that have the most pain have the most to prove in life.
Yeah.
Like I went through a lot and there was so much self-doubt on the journey. It wasn't always me being like, we got this and stuff like that. But it was on after the cries, after the hard days, after the venting of my story and then deleting it later because I'm like, I shouldn't be doing that. The next morning I wake up and I do my check-ins. And then I'm like, you just keep going and you fight for what you want, you know?
There must be some, I guess, pivotal moments through that journey though, because nothing's linear. There is no story on the face of this earth that is truly linear. Where there's going to be, you know, your ups, and then there's going to be periods of where you start to see things going in a direction we don't want, experiencing the opposite of growth, or instead of, you know, all being smiles and roses, there's some difficult moments. Like, what were some moments that you walked through where you may have questioned yourself? Where you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I think for the first year, it was just slowly building up, but then I plateaued for a really long time. Because remember that time that we were in Vegas at the ClickFunnels event and my coach left and I was like sitting there and you probably felt like you already knew the path that was super easy. You were like, oh, just hire a new coach and like do this. But I didn't know that. So I stayed there for like almost 6 months at pretty much creating a group offer that's 97, having people on the phone be like, no, I don't want it. Pretty much my business almost going down into nothing. Like we were going into the negatives because I didn't have almost the audacity to hire another coach or knew how to or was a good leader. So I just was trying to take things into group coaching instead of high ticket. So that's when I was like almost giving up in the journey because I literally had going into the negatives with my business. And that's when Andrew was like thriving and Brooke was thriving. And I was like, man, I got to like sort myself out. And that's actually when I started psychology. And I really think that helped me get resilience to build myself back up, to be like, you know what? Okay, I got this. You can't keep wishing for the life you want. You got to work towards it. You got to keep trying things. And we just decided, we went on a limb. We were just like a whim. And we were like, let's hire a sales rep. Like, let's just do it.
Okay, so there's something pivotal there, right? So up until now in the journey, you've done it yourself. You were the one on the calls. You were the one selling people in. I imagine you may have had someone doing a bit of onboarding and stuff. Then you had the coaching, and you were doing aspect of the coaching with someone else.
I was doing everything myself.
You were doing it all, right? So you're a solopreneur in many ways. For the most part, you're a solopreneur, right? Which there's good and there's not so good things about that. Good because you get to keep all the money, but bad in that obviously it all relies on you. Yeah. But there's this moment where you decide, okay, you know what? We're going to actually start creating some leverage. Because leverage is where you create true freedom.
100%.
Yeah. And look, I guess from my perspective, there's some merit to being a solopreneur, but in many ways, it's golden handcuffs, depending on the business, of course. There's obviously nuance and there's many successful solopreneurs, but the idea that in a lot of coaching service-based businesses, though, you can't really be a solopreneur. In a service-based business, you have to be doing the work. So you've recognized, okay, well, now there's some golden handcuffs.
Yeah, it's not worth it, guys, doing it all yourself. It seriously isn't. I was like, okay, I'll do my thing. I don't want to be responsible for these other people or meeting up at certain times or being the leader that always shows up. So it was pretty much me and one VA doing some of the messaging to the girls that came through the funnel. And that was it for the longest time. And I was like, we're just going to thrive off this, like, because I can have my control of the girls' results and all these different things. But once that leverage came, oh my gosh, that was like tasty.
So you decided to hire a sales professional closer.
Yes, a closer.
And so what were you looking for? So when you want to hire someone to represent your brand, represent your business, right? What were some of the attributes that you can remember that you were needing to be ticked off before you were confident enough to give the green light for someone to step on a Zoom and represent your brand?
In the person or in my business? In
the person, like who were they? Like who do they need to be in order for you to say, okay, this person is going to represent me? Because that creates leverage. You've got to be confident that they're going to be able to.
I think for me it was like I needed someone that was willing to learn and willing to adapt to what I needed from them with the girls. I needed someone that is going to treat our girls right and like really nurture them and love them on the calls instead of just being pushy to them because it's not part of my brand. It's not in my alignment. And I just needed someone that was also really hungry and was like, I'll do what it takes sort of thing, instead of like just being like, hey, can you take this call? Can you do this? Can you finish this for me? So I needed those things from the person and to get along with them well.
Right. So you were looking for someone, I guess, that could operate with, I suppose, integrity. In other words, showing up to help people, which actually it's interesting, right? Because there's an author called Jeb Blunt, and he has a book called Sales EQ. And I refer to it often because I think there's so much in there for people that are sort of getting into sales. He talks about two attributes of a high performer. The first is that they have to be legitimately interested in helping people. Legitimately, right?
Yep.
And the second is that they have to be hungry. You know what you talked about just a minute ago is they have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Yeah. So helping people for the right reasons, but secondly, being driven enough, committed enough to do whatever it takes, as you say, to hit their targets and their metrics with the balance of the two.
Yeah.
That's what makes a high performer, right? When you found this person, like what was it that gave you the, I suppose, certainty that I found him?
It took a couple people to get there.
So you had some failed attempts?
I had multiple sales people on my account. And what I noticed, by the way, which is really cool to know from the other side of things, is that the clients would come in and then leave. They would be like, don't want to be in here, wouldn't even talk to me really very much, but because of the sale not going down right with the person and not being
So they're
fully
bored.
nurtured and stuff.
Yeah.
They literally almost felt, I don't even want to say pressured, but they were not all in.
Steamrolled into it.
Yeah. So then once they came into the program, they were not people that really like kept up with the program. They wanted to leave. And all the people that get nurtured are the people that are just like all in and stay all in and want to continue. So it wasn't until I hired Tammy, who came from Brooke, and basically she right away I knew because she was on Zooms and she was just so lovely to the girls. She took all the feedback I gave her and she was just so nurturing. Like all the women just absolutely loved her. Like they loved her. They wanted to keep that relationship even after that call. They were like, I didn't feel like it was a sales call. They felt heard. They felt loved. But then she was the person and she still is the person and she'll continue to be the person. So that's how I knew is like tick, tick, tick. She's got her own motivations. She's ambitious herself. We get along super, super well. She's a boss in herself, but then she also looks at me as a boss too. So it's like it equals out in that way. There's no like not taking feedback on and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a beautiful dynamic because, salespeople have the ability to, in the remote space, that is to be entrepreneurs, right? They get to operate a business within a business. So if they're hungry, they've got a pipeline, they've got leads, they can make endless sales and dictate largely to a degree, right? I mean, sort of how their day operates and their schedule and how things obviously operate within the realms of what the business needs. So it gives people the opportunity to be business owners without all the risk, without the delivery, without the issues with Facebook or marketing or Meta or Google or whatever it is, right? So you found this person, and I guess beyond that, you've got a vision, you're building this business, but there's what I love and what I've heard and what I've seen and witnessed is this kind of evolution of a young girl that came from like a corporate role in a sense, and now is taken on this identity shift. The identity shift is the gold. Like it's the prize. Who you've become, right? Who were you and how would you describe like who you've become through this journey?
I would say who I was is like someone that didn't feel confident and someone that like didn't
confident
in myself.
And
just
why was that?
In my abilities, in my looks, in who I am as a person, just because of how I grew up. Like how
did you grow up?
There was times of bullying in school. There was times of having a lot of rejection with relationships and friendships as well. And I just felt like I never was good enough. And I always would look at other people and I'd be like, I want their life. I want their body. I want this. But I never felt like I could step into that myself and be the person that I want to be and feel comfortable. So I'm like emotional right now thinking about it because it's like it's so real. And that's how I find I can relate so well to these women because they're going through that. But I've done so much self-work that, I'm still healing on my journey. But I've finally been able to step into like, no, you're in your purpose, you're in your alignment. And that just has to be good enough for you, and accepting that.
Yeah. So who have you become then?
What do you mean by that?
Who have you become? I mean, who is Courtney Brookes? Who have you become? Describe yourself.
I've become extremely passionate about what I'm doing and confident in myself outside of looks. Like, I feel like I don't even really care too much about looks anymore. Like, it's just like, it's more an inside soul thing. Like, I'm just like, I'm confident in my purpose here on earth. And I feel like I'm in that alignment.
Love it.
And that's who I became. And I'm going to continue to just keep growing as a person. But yeah, I feel like I have a purpose here to empower women and change their lives. And I feel like in that I empowered myself. And
because when I suppose it's hard to beat someone when they're truly aligned to their purpose. Like
I know you can't shake
beat
it.
Someone.
You can't shake it.
Because adversity is part of the journey, right? I mean, challenges, setbacks, they're a given. They're a guarantee, in fact. I mean, it's quite naive and stupid to believe that anything will be a smooth sailing experience. There's always going to be turbulence or whatever it is, right? And so when you've got that clarity, I always say when people say they struggle with motivation, you don't struggle with motivation, you struggle with clarity. You don't know what you want, therefore you don't do the work. And when you don't do the work, you don't get the result. What I've heard is basically someone that was able to realign their thoughts about themselves first and foremost. Because our emotions, what we experience are our emotions, but what dictates that is the original thought about ourselves, right? So you regulated your emotions, you went through and did the work. You then feel a different way about yourself, which then changes your actions. Our thoughts dictate our emotions dictate our actions. But here is your life now, and the result of your life is the result of all the actions that you continue to take every single day. And now you're mid to later 20s, your mid-20s, you've got the money you want to create the impact that you want, but all because of a decision you made. If you chase it back, there was a moment where you decided that's not enough, where you rejected the average, where you said that is not enough.
Yeah.
And here you are today. What do you see happening the next 12 months or maybe even say, 2 years?
Everything pretty much is online, but I want like in-person events. I want to be able to go somewhere and see all these girls, and I want to have like masterminds. Like I want to have like the Zoom calls up and have people like in person stuff. I'm already starting to do that.
Powerful.
Like literally in 2 weeks from now, I'm flying my team down to Bali. So,
wow.
Yeah. So from
how do I work for you and get to Bali?
Yeah, you should. Yeah. So it's like they're coming to Bali. We're gonna have a little mastermind, like all the girls up, and like I'm excited for that because I want to see the physical. Like I don't want to just see these girls on the Zoom call. Like I want to actually see them in person, change their lives in the physical, and I really believe that, yes, one-on-one coaching is so important, like especially for fitness. In order to change someone's life, I do believe it's far superior than group. But in terms of changing someone's thought process that could change their life, you want to be in person, and you want to be in person for the masses. Yeah, like you can't change the world by just doing one-on-one with girls, and I recognize that, and I think it's important. That piece is
to have that as well, the group-based, the community-based element to your movement.
Yeah. Get the physical changes with the one-on-one and have that, but then also talk to the masses, because that's the only way to change the world is to get in front of more people.
I love it.
Imagine
on the other end of this video, there's a girl in her 20s, and whether she's in the US, Australia, New Zealand, she could be anywhere, and she has chosen a path that she now internally may recognize what she's truly called for, that it's probably a bit of an average existence. She feels it, she knows it, right? But she's chosen this path, she's gone down this road, she's exploring, she's looking, she's questioning what she's chosen. She wants more because she knows there's more out there. And she's heard your story, she understands the journey you went on, some of the challenges, the things you had to learn, the skills, sales, marketing, leadership, all the things you've spoken about today. What would you say to her to help her take the leap in order to step into either entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship in sales or something like that?
I think the big thing is, especially in 2025, like the world is changing. Like you can do stuff online, you can do sales and like remote sales. And I actually think that if I wasn't doing this, I'd do sales. Like that's probably your best bet if you're not a business owner, to be able to have that freedom. I truly believe that anything's possible. But I think at the end of the day, like you got to realize like you only have this one life. You only get to be here on earth once. So why would you continue just doing the day in, day out without the purpose that you're meant to be here on earth to do? Like you got to follow that. You got to like listen to your mind, listen to your heart. Like where is it swaying? Like what do you love? What do you love talking about on your spare time? What are the hobbies that you love? Like go towards that and recognize that people are waiting for you. Like that's what I realized is like people literally told me in my business, like the members were like, we're waiting for you to step up.
Wow.
Like I want to cry right now. Like imagine people waiting. Like that's what's possible when you do what you're supposed to do here on earth. It's like people are waiting for you to step up.
It's that raw emotion. And that's what makes you great.
Are you crying too?
Yeah. You evil person, you evil human, you.
But it's just amazing. Like, and it's not just me. It's like that can be the next person. That can be anyone just stepping into what you're meant to do. People are waiting for you.
Courtney, you're a champion.
So are you.
You're a champion.
You helped me out of hard times because you got to see the raw. because we did ClickFunnels together. And there was so many times that I had self-doubt. There were so many times that people wanted to leave the program for whatever reason. And I was like beyond myself, hysterical. Like you got to see the raw of the journey. And you were someone that always backed me, made me feel really good and made me feel supported and heard in the journey. And I appreciate that so much because
I got to see the butterfly.
Yeah.
I got to see the butterfly. So it's an inspirational story. And you know, I hope that those listening in particular, you know, there's anyone at any age can get inspiration from your story, but in particular, you know, the girl that's going through her 20s, trying to figure it out, trying to establish herself, you know, doubters everywhere, but she has no one to believe in her. I hope something sank in. And hopefully that your voice rings loud in their ears and is a catalyst for change. So thank you for being on the Freedom Formula podcast, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Freedom Formula podcast. Big thanks to Courtney Brookes for sharing her journey from the grind of nursing to building a health brand that's changing lives. Now, here's the thing. If you're tired of trading time for a paycheck, simply for a salary, and you're ready to create more time, money, and geographical freedom in your own life, this is your moment. At the Freedom Academy, we train you in the one skill that opens every door, which is sales, a high income remote skill that can pay you 10 to 30K a month and give you the freedom to live life on your terms. So do yourself a favor, head to the show notes, press the link and apply today and step into your freedom era. I'm Shane DaCosta. Thanks for listening. And remember, freedom isn't free. You got to fight for it. I'll see you on the next episode.